Welcome to another Double B's DIY shop video where we try to make the hard look easy. Today we're going to look at this 2007 Nissan Titan. It's got a starter issue. Had a local subscriber reach out to me about this issue. We talked about it. I said bring it by and let's see what we can do and see if we can help some folks make a video on it. So let's get started. Alright, first thing we're going to do is we're going to locate the fuse box, which is right here just behind the battery. We're going to take this cover off. It's actually this cover right here. We're going to take and locate the 15 amp fuel pump fuse and pull that out. And then we're going to turn the key on a few times for this vehicle to discharge the pressure in the fuel system. So let's do that. All right, got that off, the cover off, and we're gonna locate this fuse. It's right here. I need to get a tool to pull that out. Let me get a tool, we'll pull it out. May not show it on the video, but that's the one you want to pull out. So I removed that 15 fuse amp for the fuel pump. Now I'm going to go into the vehicle. Get my key, put it in, just turn the vehicle over. It may run a minute, but see, it quickly died. We've now discharged the fuel system. All right, next thing we want to do, we want to disconnect the battery. We're going to do it here at the negative terminal. I believe it's a 10 millimeter. We're going to loosen that, take that off. So let's get the tool and let's take that off. We've got that battery disconnected and this tucked out of the way. Next thing we're going to do is go to the engine cover, take these two 10 millimeter bolts loose. And then we're going to pry up back here on the back of this cover here and right here to remove it. So let's do that. Now that you got the engine cover off, we're going to come to the breather assembly tube here and we're going to start removing some of these hoses. And then we're going to remove a connection here, electrical connection here. We're going to loosen this cover, take this all off as one unit. Trying to see if there's any more hoses. That looks like it. If there's something else to take off, I'll point that out. But again, we're going to take this off, take this loose here. There's two clips, one here and one here. Take that loose and take this all as an assembly and take this electric connection off. So let's do that. Now that we got the breather tube assembly off, you can see it's removed. We're going to move on to the throttle body. We're going to remove this electrical connection. I'll try to do it and hold it. There's a tab here. You heard that click. Kind of pull on it. There we go. So that's removed. Okay, and the next thing you want to do is remove these 4 Allen head bolts. We're going to fold this forward and out of the way, off of the intake. You want to kind of make sure that you don't get debris in here. Be careful. You can cover this up if you want to. Just look around, see if you see dirt or debris, vacuum it up. Make sure that it's all clean area so that you don't contaminate the engine. So let's get off here. I'll take those loose and we'll get back on. All right, we got the throttle body off right here and we've laid it over here. One thing just to note when you're working around this area, just be careful. There's some parts. This is a plastic radiator. right here. You got a neck here. You just want to be careful you're not pushing on stuff. You never know, it might cause an issue when you're pulling this throttle body off. I just tuck this down and out of the way. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this hose here. We're going to remove the transmission bolt here, right here. It's a 10 millimeter. Let's take care of that on this side, and then we'll jump back on here. All right, we got that loose. We got the transmission tube bolt out. Now you want to go down here, and there is a wire harness here. It's got a clip here and a clip a little bit further down. You want to push in the two tabs here, pry right here, pop that out. You do that for both to get that out of the way, because that's attached to the fuel rail that's attached to the intake that we're going to take out. So let's jump off here and do that, and we'll come back on. Okay, we got that wire harness pushed out of the way here. Get down, you can see I've got it unclipped. It's loose on here and in the back. Next thing you want to do is, there's 4 injectors. You want to loosen the connectors on each one of those as you go back and pull them out. There's a little tab that you press. It's right there. Let me see if I can get one loose. All right, got that one loose. You push that tab right there and pull that out like that. Kind of tuck it out of the way. We're going to do that on the next 4 on this passenger side of the intake, and then we'll jump off. All right, as you can see, we got the injectors loose. They're all loose back here. Now we're going to switch over to this side. We're going to take this loose. We're going to take this connector loose. We're going to remove the harness. The harness is attached here, and there's a bracket. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. It's right there. I'm trying to point, but there's a bracket right behind here where this harness is attached. We need to loosen that, get that loose and tucked out of the way. So let's take care of that real quick. Okay, so we got this loose, and be careful. As you can see, this one here was rotten. It broke off. So I'll have to replace that tube. It just goes down and connects here. You can see there. So I'll have to get a new piece of tube to go there, but that's not a big deal. I've disconnected here. I've taken the wire harness and loosened here, and I loosened it from back here, and you can see I've tucked it back here out of the way. Okay, so got that loose, and then there's a vent tube that I was going to, this is it right here. You can see I was going to disconnect it here, but I found I was able to disconnect it from here easier. Just be real careful, because this is probably expensive when you're removing this. And I took the tube and I just tucked it down here out of the way. And now we're going to disconnect the fuel injectors here. There's 4 of them. They're easier to get to on this side. We're going to disconnect those, and then we'll jump back on here. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we've got to take the brake booster line off, and we're going to take it off right here. Just move this clamp over, and then slowly just pry it out, and then tuck the hose back over here. So you're going to move that clamp right there, pull it off, tuck the hose back through here, because we're going to take it out with the intake. So let's do that. So we got the brake booster line removed. We've tucked it back here. So next thing we want to do is we want to start taking those intake bolts loose. And what you're going to do is, there's a 10 millimeter bolt. I don't know if you can see it. It's right here, and then all along down through here. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. You want to start at the back and do the back 2 first, then come to the front 2, do those Then you want to go back to the back and do the next back two, and then come towards the front, do the next two, and then do the two middles. So you want to take them off in that sequence. So we're going to get a 10mm socket and a ratchet, and we're going to get to work on that, and I'm going to try to take that off and then jump back on here. So we've got all the intake manifold bolts out. If you'll look, we're loose. I've got one more thing to do. I've got to take off this piece of plastic and remove this fuel line. Okay, what you want to do is, there's a tool that you put in here, you insert it, push this forward with that tool in there, and then pull out, and this comes off. I don't have the tool. I'm gonna try to use a pick. If that don't work, I'll have to go get the tool to get this off. I'm gonna try it with a pick right now, and you just insert it in here and kind of work it forward, see if you can push back, see if you can get the tubes to release. If it doesn't release, I'll have to go get the tool naturally. Let me try that. We'll jump back on here. I finally got this loose, and I did have to go buy a tool to get that off. It was a little bit of a booger. Be diligent, you'll get that loose. This was the tool that I used to get it off. Again, I did have to battle it a little bit. Probably took me 20 minutes, but I finally was able to get the thing to release and work. So now we've got the intake loose. So I'm going to pull that out. And jump back on here. So I've got the manifold out, and you can see there's quite a bit of dirt and debris all along here, and then down in here. Also, I found apparently someone has been in here before, because look, I found these pliers laying right there, like that. So that's interesting find when I'm working on this. So I'm gonna jump off here, get a vacuum cleaner, clean that all up, and jump back on. So now we've got it all cleaned up. You notice I put some rags or some napkins, paper towel in these intake holes so to keep dirt and debris out. I vacuumed all of this out, got that mostly clean. Now we got to take the starter out. First thing we're going to do, we're going to remove that nut right there. It's a 12mm. Then we're going to take out a 12mm. It's a bolt that holds this plastic. It's right behind here. That's the back side of the threaded bolt that I'm pointing to right there. You're going to put your ratchet back there and pull that bolt out. You might have to pop this harness up to access it. We'll see. I'm going to jump off here and do that right now. So, got that harness off. Got that back harness. This is it. Got it off that bolt there. Tucked it back here. I pulled this clip and this clip. This clip came off that bracket. This clip came off that bracket. You can see that bracket. Trying to think. There was a clip on this that was attached. I got it loose. So now we're ready to take off. Sorry, let me get the camera focus. Two 14mm in there on the back of this starter. So I'll jump off here, do that, and come back on. Well, we got the starter out. The bolts were a little bit of a booger. One of them, this one here, was very tight. I was able to get my ratchet on it and use a hammer and kind of whack it that way and get it to loosen finally. But you can see there's some cleanup I'm going to do down here with the vacuum. I'm going to vacuum all that out. And then the next thing is put the starter back in. So I'm going to jump off here and take care of that and be back on. So we've got the starter area cleaned out. We've got the starter put back in, put the 2 bolts in, connected the 2 wires. I've got this left to do. I'll plug it to that connector. It didn't come with attachments, so I'm going to try to maybe put a zip tie right there, and that way that'll hold it away from any heated part, hopefully. And then I'm going to pull these out, use some brake cleaner on some paper towel, and clean around the intake boots until it's good and clean, and then we'll go back with the intake. So let me jump off here and do a couple of those items. So I got the connector zip tied right there. I'm gonna put a zip tie here on this little wire, trying to keep it away from the heat. Now I'm gonna clean the surfaces here with some brake cleaner. Just put it on a paper towel, rub it real good, try to clean the surfaces good so we'll have a good mating surface when we go back with the intake. So I'm gonna jump off here, take care of that, and come back. So I got the brake cleaner, cleaned up the mating surfaces, as you can see, a lot better. Just rubbed it down real good, got all the dirt and debris off. Now I'm gonna put the new O-rings on the underside of the intake manifold, and then we're gonna pull these paper towel out of these holes and put the intake manifold back in. So I'll jump off here and do that. All right, I got it cleaned up. I've put the intake in place, and now I've got to take each intake bolt and put it in. There's 10 of these. You're going to start on the passenger side middle, tighten down there. You're going to do them passenger side middle, driver side middle. Then you're going to come to the driver side front second bolt. Then you're going to go to the passenger side front second bolt. Then you're going to go to the back driver side second bolt from back. Then you're going to go to the passenger side second bolt from back. Then you're going to go to the front driver side bolt. Then you're going to come to the passenger side front bolt. Then you're going to go to the back passenger side bolt, and then finally to the back driver side bolt. You need to torque them down to 71 inch-pounds. First thing you do is you put them all in. Make sure that you can get them all in, but don't snug them yet. Then snug them in the pattern I just told you. Then come back and torque them in the pattern I told you. And it will be 71 inch-pounds for these bolts. So let me do that and I'll get back on here. Alright, we've got the intake bolts torqued down. Again, that torque was 71 inch-pounds. It was a pretty simple job. Now I'm going to start putting in the connectors for the fuel injectors. If you'll remember, we have 4 on each side, so I got one here. You want to push it on there till you hear it click. I got one there. Push it on till you hear it click. It's in the way. That. This. Pipe. Yeah. Come on. Let's see here. position my light where I can see a little better. Alright, there we go. We got that back on there. And then there's one right back here. Alright. Got those 4 on. I'm going to jump off here, do the other 4, get back on. Okay, so we got those 4 injectors on the passenger side back in. Now my tall task is to put back everything on the passenger side that I took undone. So I've got this vent tube piece here to go. So let's work on that, get that back on. All right, that's on. I'll put that clamp on in a second. There's a harness here that we popped loose. We need to put back. It's right there. So put that back on. I don't see anything else. Maybe this bolt right here. So let me get that bolt, put that on. We'll jump back on. So we're now over on the driver's side. Just finished up that passenger side and we got some stuff to put back. I've got a fuel line here to put back. I've got a connection here. I've got a vent tube here. I've got a vent tube to put back here. I've got a brake booster to put back right there. And I've got some wire harness clips here to put back. I think one goes here, right here, and then one goes, I think, back behind here somewhere. Let me jump off and take care of those and get back on here. So I wanted to jump back on here and show you guys on the driver's side the last thing. I need to put this fuel rail line back on. And all you're gonna do is you're gonna push this on here like this until you hear it click. Like that. And pull back on it and it's not gonna come back. You want to push back like that, and then you want to get the safety lock for that. See if I can find that. Got it laying over here. Put it back on. That right there. Okay, then you got a yank. Give it a good yank like that, and that should be good to go. All right, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put this throttle body back right here. And I've got a new gasket for this right here, so I'm gonna take that out, swap that gasket out, and then I'm gonna put this throttle body back on. So let me jump off of here and take care of that. I've changed out this seal for the throttle body, and also I wiped really good around the surface seal here to make sure that this isn't going to have a leak. So I'm going to take the 4 Allen head bolts and put them back on, and I'll jump back on here. Now we're going to take the throttle body connection harness, put it back on, hear it pop on like that. I think the next thing we're going to do is take the breather tube assembly and put it on. So let me jump off here, grab that, get back on here once I got that put on. All right, so now we got the breather tube on here. You got to get this breather tube assembly right here where the air filter is. You want to get, there's 3 cogs that go in these little loops here. There's one there, and then one in the center. You want to connect this connector. You got a couple vent tubes right here to connect, and then you need to tighten this. That's what it's going to take to get that breather tube on. So let me finish that up and we'll jump back on. Okay, we finished up that breather tube assembly. Next thing you want to do is to come back over here and put that fuse that we took out back in. We're going to do that, put the cover back on, and we're also going to connect the battery back. Once we do that, we'll jump back on here. Well, now that we got that fuse in, hooked up that battery, next thing you want to do before you put the engine cover on here, there's 2 bolts to put that thing on. You want to get the key, cycle it a couple times. Don't start it, just cycle it a couple times. Give the fuel system a little bit of time to pressurize before you start it. So I'm gonna do that. Let me do that and jump back on. All right, so we got the engine cover back on. We've got it finished up. I did pressurize the fuel system. Got that going. The vehicle does start. Let me show you that real quick. We'll walk around here, get it started. There you have it. It's running back good and smooth. Do me a favor, if you like this video, hit that subscribe or like button. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a good day. God bless.